hear it in a whole new way.
That's great.
Stripped-down performances from groundbreaking musicians and emerging artists, plus the stories behind the songs. This is Sirius XMU Sessions.
You're listening to Sirius XMU Sessions. I'm Julia Cunningham, and we're beyond excited to have Sandy Alex G, known to the people as Alex, joining us in studio. Hi, Alex.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. You just released your new album called House of Sugar, and we're excited that you're going to be performing a number of songs from, and also a cover that we'll get to by the end. I want to sort of leave it as a surprise. But this is the first time we've had you in our Sirius XM studios, even though we've been playing your music for some time, and you've been orbiting in the world of indie rock for so long. First of all, thank you for coming up and spending some time with us.
Thanks for having me.
We are at a place where you are an artist that has been around for some time, and yet the explosion of the DIY scene, I think, which led you to sort of putting out a label with Orchard Tapes and then obviously signing to Domino. What was sort of the end goal when you first started releasing music and starting just self-releasing it? Where did you think, would you think you would be at this realm in your career, or was it always like, oh no, of course I thought this is where I was going to be at this point?
No, I never really thought about it in terms of a career or anything like that. Obviously, it was a fantasy of mine, but I just made the music for fun as a teenager, and it was a way to socialize. A lot of people I knew were in bands and stuff, so we'd all make music and play shows together. And that was kind of as far as I thought it would ever go for me, But
yeah.
Luckily, I got a career out of it. That's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. I mean, inherently, did you know, though, that you were like, quote, talented? Like, did you realize, no, I don't want to just be in other people's bands. Like, I can do this independently. I can record this at home. I'm writing melody for myself. Was there like a kernel that made you go this route, though, and go and start doing DIY completely yourself?
Yeah, I guess because, it was something to do. So, yeah, I mean, it's not like I always had people around, so I'd be by myself. I was always trying to make things growing up. I'd draw a lot, and then when I figured out how simple the GarageBand, what the program I used was to work, I just started making music on there, and it was almost like serving the same purpose as drawing or writing, or
a different extension of art for you.
Yeah, I just liked making stuff, I guess. Yeah, I don't know why,
Yeah, it just
fun.
happened. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
What did you sort of train in music, or did you just sort of naturally pick up guitar, etc.?
I picked up guitar, but I have an older brother who's very musically talented, and he bought the guitar, and he had a nice keyboard, and I was always picking up the stuff that he put down. I was exposed to him who was very talented, so I knew where, I saw what you can do with music. I was exposed to a lot of music because of him.
Well, thank God for older siblings, right?
Right.
Because who knows, right? Because you basically start listening to whatever they were listening to.
Mm-hmm.
What was sort of popular at that time? What was because he's probably doing a lot of covers, right? That's how you kind of learn.
Well, he played a lot of music, but I wasn't aware of what he listened to, but I have an older sister too. She was where I got all of
She
my
would give you music
taste from. Yeah. Like, she would give me CDs of Modest Mouse and Radiohead.
Oh, your sister's cool as hell.
She was cool. Yeah, she is cool. I still defer to her opinion about stuff with music and art and movies and stuff. I always like her taste better than my taste.
Is there a thing in the family that you were all good with melody? Because specifically, and I'm sure you've heard this a million times, where everyone's just like, damn, that Alex G and that melody, like the melodies that you come up with. Was that something that you were very good at even at a young age, or is that something that has just gotten better with time? And
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I've never had to think about it that hard. Like, it comes pretty easily to me, right? Making music, and I'm obviously not making anything super complicated or advanced, but it
says
always,
you.
It came easily from the beginning. So I don't know if I'm sure some people like my older stuff more than the stuff I'm making now, so they'd probably argue that I got worse at it or something. I don't know.
Oh my God. I say stay away from Reddit. I was like trying to go into those crazed Sandy Alex G fan bases on Reddit, and I just was like, this is just a deep dive of wildness. But that is for another day. Sandy Alex G is our guest. He just released a new album called House of Sugar, and he's going to be performing in our Sirius XM studios. Actually, you're our first, actually maybe you're our second, but you're one of our very first sessions recorded in our new Los Angeles offices.
Oh, cool.
So we thank you. He's sort of smashing a champagne bottle onto the studios safely for us as we launch. And you're going to do a song. You're going to start us off with a solo acoustic set, which is very lovely of you, with the song Hope, which you can find on the new album. And then we're going to get into some more band stuff as well. So let's go ahead and let Alex get into the studio. We're going to hear Hope, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. You're listening to Sirius XMU Sessions.
Honor him somehow. Yeah, saw some people crying that night. Yeah, fentanyl took a few lives from our life. Alright. I woke in the middle of the night. He spoke with his eyes half closed. Can you get me something else to eat? Got a hole in my chest, I can't take it anymore. Put my pillow to the test, let me rest. Taking turns on the bed, throwing bottles from the windows of the home on Hope Street. You can write a check in my name now, Eddie, take the money and run.
You're listening to Sirius XMU Sessions. I'm Julia Cunningham, and Sandy Alex G is our guest, who has a new album out called House of Sugar. Alex just did an acoustic set for us of the song Hope, and he's going to bring a couple other members into the studio to perform. And I'm assuming sort of like who will be performing today are your regulars, right? Who will we be hearing in this session?
So you'll be hearing Sam Acchione playing guitar and also keyboard. There's Tom Kelly playing the drums, and John Haywood playing the bass. And they're really close friends of mine, and every time I'm on tour with them. Mm-hmm. And
it's a family affair, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah, they're we spend most of our time together, so
which is definitely a thread, I would say, within your music, right? And you have the woman who normally sings backup for you, who you've known since like when you were a senior in high school and everything like that. Is that important for you within the atmosphere of music, sort of having these close relationships and musicians that just really understand who you are, whatever you bring them?
Yeah, I think so. And it's just the only way I know how to make music is to make it for myself, and in the grand scheme of things, I am trying to make it for other people, but in that process, I only know how to do it by making myself feel something from the music. So I guess asking people I know is an extension of that. I want to enjoy it the whole time, or I don't know if enjoy it is the right word, but I want to, I need to make it feel personal to me.
Right. Accessible to you.
It needs to be, I'm trying to Yes, exactly. It needs to be as accessible as possible for me because it makes me feel excited when I'm making it. Yeah. Does that explain?
Yeah. No, I get it. But tell me a little bit about sort of like, the actual process, because when you look at your sort of output, it's like you are prolific in a way, but also it seems reasonable the amount of records you've put out and the amount of times that you've been releasing albums. But is there a time where you take a break from music, or are you just constantly letting your mind write, record, obsess, work? Like what is sort of like, what's like a day like for you when you're actually in the throes of making a record?
I'm always kind of making a record, and it's just, if I have an idea and I'm excited about it, then I sit down and flesh it out. It'll usually start, I'll come home at night and maybe have a melody in mind or something, or I'll be sitting with the guitar and think of something, sketch it out, and then the next morning I'll just drink a ton of coffee and keep adding and adding and adding. And it takes a while though. I'll work on a song all day, and then I'll work on a different song the next day all day, and then I come back to those over the course of a few months,
Yeah.
or a year with this one. I would just put it away for a week or two, come back to it, tweak it a little bit, put it away once the essentials are down.
And is there a sort of like doorway into writing a song for you? Like, do you sit down, because a lot of your songs really are lyrically very beautiful though, in sort of like a poetry manner,
Oh, thanks.
or in a storytelling manner, where is it like you find a word in your mind, a phrase, or do you sit down with like the intention of a theme? And maybe we can even use like the song Gretel, for example, which you're going to play, something like that. Like, where does a song like that come from in terms of this sort of short, but like wordy in a way story,
It's different for every song. Gretel was actually a lot longer, and I like cut it in half and saved the best little pieces of the lyrics. But it changes with every song. Most of the time, it's a few words come to me while I'm playing the guitar or the piano or whatever I'm using to write with, and like it'll be a rhythmic thing. Like with Gretel, it's like, I don't want to go back, and it wasn't like those words were even in my head at first, but I was repeating like, and then I realized that phrase kind of like slowly,
the puzzle piece of it comes together.
Yeah, and then it builds off of that a lot of the time. Like it'll be a rhythmic, phonetic thing, and then once I have that little piece that fits really well, then I build around that. And a lot of time the little piece changes by the end once I've built something around it, and then this piece isn't relevant anymore, and I change it to fit what the rest is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think a lot of times within, especially some of the songs that you're playing today, there's a lot of repetition, right? Where then it really grabs you, where you're like forcing us almost to have earworm moments, right? Where it like gets stuck in you in a way. Or is that just sort of you, that it's just like, oh, that just fits perfectly if I just keep this going, like the pace of it?
Right. Like the repetition, I guess I stick it in there. I try and avoid it now more so than I did when I was younger. Like when I was younger, if I had a part I liked, I would just play the part over and over
and over.
Because it feels so good, But I'm realizing now, I kind of like having a piece of a song that you want to repeat, but then not repeating it, so you have to return to the song, and then the other parts of the song become more beautiful because you're going back for that one piece,
Mm-hmm.
I've just noticed that about other music I've heard. I can't think off the top of my head now, but there's a lot of music I like that I really want it to repeat, and it doesn't, and I have to keep coming back to it and turning the song on again and again. And I
absorb this note.
Yeah, and there's something about music that's valuable in that way. It's like I can't really watch movies like that, but it's cool.
Right.
Movies or that music, I can turn it on again and again, and it's kind of a new thing every time.
Yeah. We're going to have you perform the song Gretel with your bandmates for this one. And we have Alex from Sandy Alex G joining us in studio. We'll be back in just a few minutes, so hang here. You're listening to Sirius XM Sessions.
go back. Nobody's gonna push me off track. I see what they do. Good people got something to lose. I don't wanna go back. Nobody's gonna push me off track. I don't wanna be this. Good people gotta fight to exist.
You're listening to Sirius Xm Sessions. I'm Julia Cunningham, and we have Alex, who performs as Sandy Alex G in our studios, who has a new album out called House of Sugar. And we just had you perform the track Southern Sky. You can actually find sort of this block on the album together, roughly, in this way. What can you sort of tell us about Southern Sky? Either writing it, musically behind it?
The hook in the middle, like, it's okay, we don't cry. I had a dream book when I was younger, and I was flipping through that while I was making this album, and that was one of the little lines that I had written in there, and I thought that was a cool line. So I guess that was the start. I was like, I really have to use this for something. And
Wow. How old were you when you were keeping a dream journal? As in when you would wake up and you would just write down everything you just thought of?
yeah, like usually wasn't very detailed. It would be a little snippet, like something just a little thing that I remembered right before I opened my eyes. And I wasn't that much younger. I mean, probably when I was like 21, 22. Yeah, it was a short period of time that I was keeping that. But
You got a
good
song
stuff.
out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was worth something.
It was worth it. Alex is our guest, and I was curious about sort of, there has been sort of a lot of talk of how you have used sort of your traditional materials of GarageBand, sort of like what you know.
Mhm.
And is that also just sort of out of the atmosphere of the level of comfort and everything else? Like, because I'm sure like, you could easily take me to Abbey Road, Domino, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
Maybe that's an extreme, but you know what I mean? But so is there something that makes you want to stay? Like, is there
Yeah.
something to it? Or is it just like, yes, this is what I've always done. It's just how I make my records.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. I mean, I just see it as my craft, and part of the craft is the tools I'm using or something, that's just how I know to work. And I'm not sure if I would be able to do it in a studio. you
Yeah.
know? Like I've never done it, like I've always done it like this.
And it's on your terms, right? Because you're just at home.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think I can, I could stay up all night and just play one note. Not that I do that, but I
F it
like
if you
having
want to.
Exactly. And at a studio, I can't do that. I'm like, is this the right take? Is this the right take? And I can do a zillion takes. In a studio, you're paying like 20, 30, 40, whatever it is, an hour. It's just different.
Yeah. You just have more freedom, I guess.
Hmm.
And was there a song that really made you feel like the album was coming together? That you realized like, oh, this isn't just a collection of songs. Oh, wow, this is House of Sugar.
That's a good question. That's a good question because there is that point in every album where
Mm-hmm. It
I'm
comes
making
together finally.
yeah, and I don't see it, and then one song, and I'm like, oh, I get it almost, later, like the sugar theme and stuff.
Yeah. Which for people that don't know, there is an actual House of Sugar. It was a casino in Philly.
Oh, Sugar House,
Sugar House. But then I was reading history that like Philadelphia was like the center of the sugar trade.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's actually very interesting history. I'm sure there's probably like a random podcast about it or something. But
That's really
yeah.
cool. I didn't know.
Yeah. Like back in the day, it's like where all molasses would come through is through Philadelphia.
Wow.
It's probably like Sugar House is probably an homage to sort of that trade of it.
Yeah, I learned that later too, that
Yeah.
Sugar House, because I did an interview a while ago talking about the album House of Sugar, and there's a song called Sugar House.
Yeah.
And then I read the article later, and the person...
Oh, and they're like talking about the history of it?
Yeah, and I didn't even know. I just...
Oh.
I thought Sugar House was... I thought they named it that because it's like, come
It's
here.
like, yeah, it's like a casino. It's like a honey pot.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's why I thought they called it that, and I was like...
No,
that's
it's all about
cool.
history, Alex. You're learning when you're in casinos.
Right. I don't know when it came together.
But in the batch, it just felt like you had it.
Yeah, I just don't know the answer, but there was a point when I
It came
really
together.
noticed it. Yeah.
There was a thread for sure.
Mhm.
Well, we've really appreciated you being in our Sirius Xm studios.
Thanks for having
It's
me.
been great having you. And Alex has one more track. In fact, a cover of Shania Twain's "You're the One." What is it about this song that made you want to cover it, learn it, bring it to the masses?
To be honest, I thought we were supposed to have a cover for this because I never really do covers, but so I was looking around trying to think of a song that's like really
A pop banger, a country crossover for Shania Twain.
yeah, we were like, what will people like click on or something?
Wow, you gave us clickbait.
Yeah, and so this one seemed like kind of easy to sing, and
Yeah.
I'm still probably gonna sing it like garbage, but I'll try. And
You know what? You're going to do a great job. Don't put yourself down that way. Okay? The masses are going to love this. I'm very excited to hear it. Your version of Shania Twain's "You're the One." So that's what we're going to end with. And it's got the full band in there too. So enjoy, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us. This
Thanks.
has been Sirius XM Sessions with Sandy Alex G. And here's his cover of "You're Still the One" on Sirius XMU.
Sirius XMU Sessions. Stripped down performances and the stories